good, fellas? We're getting straight to the damn point today, man. Listen, too many people do not pace themselves and then they end up burning out on the fitness journey. We know January 1st is coming up. This shit happens way too much. I'm going to post a DM conversation I had the other day because I've been having this conversation for years and years and years, and I've never really screenshotted it and like shared it. But it comes from a mentality that's never going to get you to the goals that you're trying to get to. All right, it's about you spend majority of your time not doing what you need to do when it comes to nutrition, not doing what you need to do when it comes to workout, not being consistent, not becoming the person you need to become. And then you randomly set a goal and you're like, hey, I'm going to give 2 months everything I got and I better lose 40 pounds of fat. That's not going to fucking happen. It's what you do on a daily basis that gets you to your goals. It's what you do 90% of the time. All right. So if for 12 months of the year you weren't doing what you needed to do, if you lock in for a month, you're not off doing 12 months of eating like absolute shit and not moving around. It's just not happening. Too many people are like, hey man, I need to make up for lost time. So let me go from what they're eating currently, which is usually more than 3,000 calories. And then they're like, yeah, let me go down to 1,400. No grown man, no one over 125 pounds should ever be trying to eat 1,400 calories. It doesn't make any sense unless you're going on stage and you're trying to get absolutely shredded. But majority of the time, most people are more than 20% body fat trying to eat 1,400 calories. That makes no sense. All right. Me at 10% body fat right now, if I ate 1,400 calories, I would literally lean out pretty quickly. I can eat 2,300 calories and still get lean. All right. It just doesn't make any sense. A lot of you guys are 250 plus, 20% body fat plus, and you're trying to cut down to 1,800, 1,400 calories, and you wonder why you continually burn out over and over and again. And you're like, oh my God, like I just can't do it. Diet is too mental. No, you're not being patient and you're not pacing yourself. It takes you 10 fucking years. How many times do I have to say this? It takes you 10 fucking years to gain the weight. It takes you 5 years to gain the weight. You gain 1 pound per month. That's a very steady pace for 5 years. That's 50 pounds. For 10 years, that's 100 pounds. Very steady pace. And you want to lose that same amount of weight in less than 6 months? It doesn't make any sense. 6 months is already very fast to lose 50 pounds. That's already very, very fast. Most people, after 6 weeks, they're like, dang, man, I only dropped 12 pounds. I can't do this. It's too hard. You're at a good pace, all right? You got to realize that your results will compound. That is what the journey is about, the results compounding. Because best believe, like I just said, if you lose 12 pounds in 6 weeks, that means by the end of 6 months, which is what, 24 weeks, that means you'll be 48 to 50 pounds down by the end of 6 months and you'll be at your goal. And if it's 48 to 50 pounds of fat, you'll look completely different. You'll have dropped about 15% body fat. You'll have completely changed your life and your blood work, your vital signs, everything. Most people just can't stick it out that long. And it's crazy to me because people do this shit every year. They're like, literally, they just binge eat all year. And Thanksgiving, since they ate more than usual and they eat a lot of candy, drink a lot of eggnog, they feel worse than usual. So they try to punish themselves, right? You're not supposed to look at the gym as a way to punish yourself by doing extra cardio. You're not supposed to look at nutrition as a way to punish yourself by starving yourself. That's not what you do. Nutrition is fuel. Nutrition is primary prevention for every disease. Nutrition is healing, right? That's number one. The gym is stress relief. It's good for your bones. It's good for your joints. And it's good for obviously building muscle, which is going to burn fat in the long run. That's what it's for. You got to start looking at these things differently. All right. Too many people are like, cardio is extra punishment. Cardio is to burn off calories. Cardio is not to burn off calories. Cardio is simply for heart health. And doing extra cardio is just going to help you get in a bigger deficit. But if you do too much cardio, obviously you're just going to lose muscle. All right. When you start looking at these things differently and you start looking at it more long term, that's when you're going to see the results. Listen, you're never going to get to your results if you continue to have that same dumbass mentality like, nah, man, this is my year, man. I'm going to give it 2 months. 2 months is just not enough to outdo 30 years of bad eating and 40% body fat. Like, you have to know where you're starting. You cannot go from, like, the reason I say this is because the majority of people I talk to are always 40% body fat. And they're always 40% body fat. They just are. Because they'll send me pictures in the DM. They'll be like, yeah, man, I'm about 20%. I'm just trying to get down to 10. I'm like, well, that's not a bad goal to have. That's pretty cool. They send me a picture. I'm like, dude, you're at least 40%. That's being generous. You're probably 45%. All right. So if you're 40%, you're not getting down to 10, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks, in 4 months. It's just not happening. First of all, you need to change your mindset as well. That's going to take a lot of time. All right. Another thing is, the dude that DM me, let me just go through the DM. Like, the DM was like, some dude hit me up. He's like, hey, man, I'm ready. I need to lock in. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, let's lock in. What's your goals? And he's like, well, I think he said he only has like 2 months to get to his goals. I was like, what the fuck do you only have 2 months? He's like, I only have 2 months. I have to lose 20 pounds 2 months. I was like, no, the fuck you don't, bro. No, you don't. Like, you're not getting arrested if you don't lose 20 pounds in 2 months. Stop having these dumbass expectations of yourself and trying to rush the process. If you lose 20 pounds in 2 months and you're not, 500 pounds, 400 pounds, 300 pounds, then a lot of that's going to be muscle. and he was like, I think it was like 200, 180, something like that. So yeah, if he loses 20 pounds in 2 months, he's just going to lose a bunch of muscle. And on the scale, the weight's going to be where he wants it to be. And a lot of people have this mentality that like, hey man, I'm just trying to, I don't care if I lose muscle. I just want to get down to this weight on the scale and then I'll gain it back. Dumbest fucking mentality ever. Why the fuck would you do that? Shit makes no sense. Think about this shit. Oh, let me lose muscle. Any muscle loss is going to affect your body composition, and you're probably going to have loose skin, very likely to have loose skin if you're losing a lot of muscle. But also, why the hell would you lose muscle just for a number on the scale and then gain it back? That shit makes no sense. That means you're too fixated on the scale and not actual health and not actual fat loss. It's the dumbest fucking mentality. And I've literally had thousands of people ask that stupid question in the past 5 years, just the past 5 years. People are like, yeah, I just want to get down to this specific weight on the scale and then I'll bulk back up and build muscle. No. Maintain muscle and lose fat. All right. So your body composition will be what you want it to be, but you also won't slow down your metabolism by losing muscle, and you won't suffer body composition by losing muscle. I don't understand where that mentality came from. Like, yeah, man, I'm just going to lose weight because of, like, stop fixating so much on the scale, guys. This shit, like, you guys keep dropping 20 pounds in a week, 50 pounds in 2 months and not being where you want to be and being disappointed in your physique because guess what? You focus just on the scale. And obviously you lost a lot of muscle in the process, and it's obviously not sustainable because you're starving yourself. Like, stop doing that shit. But yeah, this dude was like, yeah, man, so I'm thinking of doing 1,400 calories, 20,000 steps a day, you know, because I really need to get to my goals in 2 months. I was like, yeah, this is dumb as fuck, unsustainable. And he's like, no, I just want to do that temporarily to get to my goal. Stop trying to do temporary solutions for long-term problems. The shit never works. That's your issue. You're trying to have these temporary solutions for long-term problems. Do not listen unless you're going on stage. If you're peaking on stage, then you know you have the 16-week cut, and I think it's like the 3-week intense cut, and then like peak week or some shit like that, something like that. That makes sense. But you're under the guidance of a coach, and you're literally going to get to between 3 to like 6% body fat on stage. All right. But most people who are doing these quick keto, like, yeah, I'm just gonna do keto for 2 months. I'm gonna get to this goal weight, and then I'm gonna go back to my old habits. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Or I'm gonna up the calories. That doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. There is no longevity in that. That shit doesn't work. Why are you trying to speed run the results? It's because you're trying to, you know, your motivation is going to last like 1 to 2 months maybe. So you're trying to just utilize your motivation instead of instilling discipline and better habits long term. That's the problem, because people are always like, yeah, I'm gonna just do this for 2 months, then I'm gonna go back to my old habits. But I need you to help me to get these 30, 40 pounds off these 2 months. I'm like, no, I'm not doing dumb shit like that. That's not a long term solution. What's gonna happen is you're gonna lose, if you lose 30 pounds in 2 months, which I hope you don't, because it's horrible. But if you lose 30 pounds in 2 months, you're just going to lose a lot of muscle, and it's going to be so unsustainable. You're going to be so hungry. You're just going to go back to your old habits. So stop having this, literally, I don't know where it comes from, but it's the dumbest fucking mentality of all time. Like, yeah, I'm going to just do this for 2 months. It's literally like saying, all right, bro, so I'm going to just get my doctorates in, you know, physics just because I want to teach this one class for a semester. And then I'm going to just go down and I'm going to just start using my bachelor's. Like, you see how dumb that sounds? That shit just doesn't make any fucking sense. If you said that to someone, like, what the fuck are you talking about? It literally makes no sense. That's how it is when you guys tell me. You guys literally tell me the dumbest shit. You guys are like, yeah, I'm going to just get down to this certain weight right here. Like by doing keto, fasting, and like extra cardio. Then I'm going to scale back on the cardio and like switch up my whole routine. No. Constantly switching up routines is how you get absolutely nowhere. All right, you got to get used to a routine, and you got to do what works. You got to focus on fat loss. You got to be patient, right? And honestly, I say be patient, but you don't have to fucking be patient in this journey because the shit's fast as shit. If you can get results in 6 months, that doesn't require patience. Time's gonna pass anyways, and that's a very short period of time. 6 months is very short. Like, just imagine if you were married for 6 months. That's a short period of time, right? Just imagine if you went to school for 6 months. Short period of time. Just imagine if you worked at a job for 6 months. Short period of time. So we all know that 6 months is a very short period of time. However, when it comes to the fitness journey, all of a sudden 6 months equals 6 years. You just lack discipline. It's ridiculous. It's literally ridiculous because in reality, like I said, most of you guys that I talk to, you know, even the ladies that I talk to, it took you guys 5 to 10 years to gain the weight, and it's like you guys want to lose that shit in like 6 days. You'll lose it in, you know, 6 months, like I said, which is a very good amount of time. But you guys want to lose it in 6 days. It doesn't make any sense. All right. And I want to leave you guys with a story about pacing, because pacing is everything. Because like I said earlier, if you want to lose 50 pounds in 6 months, that's literally, you know, 2 pounds per week. So that's all you want to focus on. That means if you lose 4 pounds the first week and 0 pounds the second week, you're perfectly on pace. But I remember that, you know, it was raining outside and we had to run the mile in 9th grade. Right. And I wanted to get first in the mile, but I was obviously out of shape. So I was already cooked. But anyways, I wanted to get first. It was like 20 laps. Right. So the first 3 laps, I absolutely just gassed it. I was in first place. It wasn't even close. I was destroying everybody. And then, I slowed down the fourth and fifth lap. I was still in first place. And by the sixth lap, I started getting hawked. By the 20th lap, I was like the last fucking person. I was just dying from, lap 6 to 20. You know why? Because I didn't fucking pace myself. I tried to sprint out and just go off of motivation without having a fucking plan. That's how a lot of you guys are in the gym. You guys do the 2 hours of cardio a day. You guys do 1,400 calories a day. You do that for 14 days, and it's like, whoa, you're losing more weight than everybody else. Although you're losing muscle, you're losing more weight than everybody else. You look 6 months later, right? The people who are consistent, they lost, 40 to 50 pounds, a lot of body fat. They have better posture. They're a different person. You either gained weight or you're back to square one because it was too unsustainable. So you stopped doing that shit. By the time spring break came, you're out partying. Here's what happens with most people, right? January 1st to January 20th or January 14th, people are grinding. They're doing the keto. They're excited. They're doing dumbass juice fast and shit like that. Oh, wow, cute. And then February comes around, they kind of quit and they're like, damn, it's kind of hard. Let me start back up. They start back up a few times. They stop because what they're doing is super unsustainable. Doing 2 hours of cardio and 1 hour of strength training is just literally diabolical for a beginner. That just doesn't make any sense. And then spring break comes around, they're like, oh, spring break comes around, let's go to Miami, let's go to Fort Lauderdale, let's go to Panama City, let's go to Mexico. And they just start partying, they start drinking, and then they're way off their diet by that point. And they're back to square one or worse than where they started, so they get discouraged because they weren't pacing themselves and they weren't looking at the long-term vision. That's what I see every fucking year. And, next year's not going to be different until, like, the only way you're getting over this is if you change your mentality and realize this is a long-term thing. And you got to realize that from January 1st to December 31st, that's what the year is. All right. The year is not January 1st to January 31st, which is when everyone wants to get results. Everyone wants to get results in January. Like, I'm talking about a year's worth of results. Like, they want to build muscle, lose fat, have a different mindset. You're not doing that shit in 1 month. You got to give yourself the whole year, right? Like, if you're really starting January 1st, which I do not recommend, obviously, but if you're starting your journey, give yourself 1 year. Give yourself 1 year, because that'll give you, room for trial and error. That'll take a lot of pressure off yourself. And committing to that long will be good for you mentally. All right.